Welcome, gamers, to this week's episode of Last Call Gaming. We're on episode number 124. Today is February 3rd. My name is Craig Perales, and joining me after a long week in Vegas, Manager Montemayor.
Tired as ever.
Tired as ever?
I'm super grateful
good rest?
that I have nothing coming up because I'm tired of traveling.
Dude, it's overrated. It's for the birds, they say. But before we dive into what we're going to be talking about, guys, if you're following us on YouTube, make sure you guys like, comment, share, subscribe, and as always, I don't think we mentioned it at the end, but leave a question down below for us if you guys want to ask us something on the YouTube comment section. If you guys are interested in following any of our social media, our Linktree link is in the description, and that'll take you to all the platforms we are on. And if you guys are listening to the audio-only version of this podcast, try checking out Anchor first. That is the home up for us, and that will redirect you to a lot of other ones. So we like to drink beers around here, and this week was my week to grab one, and I think we may have a first for this one, Andrew. I picked out the Mango Wheat by State 48 Brewery, which is here in Arizona. It sits at a 5%. It is a wheat beer, American Pale. Now, usually they have a score on them. I use Beer Advocate. We rank them. Usually, most of these are in the highs. We don't really see too many that aren't. This one's non-available, and because its status is retired. So I don't know if we've ever had a retired beer on the show, but if we do, salutes out to you. I grabbed it because the can looked interesting, and we like Mango Wheat. One of our favorite beers is a Mango Wheat. We cracked it open. We drank a little bit of it. There's no notes on it, so there's nothing to like reference from any type of connoisseur, but I don't know. It's mango-y. It's weedy. I know you said it's maybe a little too mango-y, a little too weedy.
I like it, and I think it is really good. I think I just like Mango Cart better. I don't know if maybe it's just blended better, or maybe I'm just so used to drinking Mango Carts, because those are
our go-to.
Even when we went to Vegas, they have them up there in the tall cans. They're on draft everywhere. So I'm just so used to drinking that when I'm trying to get away from like a good beer taste. That no, it's really good.
Yeah, it's hard to describe anything more on a Mango Wheat beer. Like, we like them a lot, and this one is really good. Like I said, the can's what caught my eye. It is weird that it's retired. I kind of want to do research now and see why. But after a long weekend of drinking for like days and days, I was like, okay, Mango Wheat we both enjoy. 5%'s nothing that's going to kill us. So we figured I figured we'd grab this one. And we were supposed to record earlier in the week, but, you know, shit happens, and today's the day we're doing it. But I don't know, good, cool, calm, collective beer.
I'm glad. I literally almost texted you too. I was going to say, like, either don't want to drink or don't grab anything that's not flavorful. I don't want to drink like a normal tasting fucking beer this week.
Send those to me, because I know Andrew's got a surprise next week.
I forgot. I didn't think about it.
But that is our beer for the week, guys. If you're drinking along with us, pick something that you're comfortable with. And if you guys are interested in leaving us a suggestion here in Arizona, leave it down in the comments below, and we will find it and we will drink it on the show. So before we get into our main topics, guys, we're going to do What Are You Up To? What Andrew and I talk about, what we've been watching, what we've been playing, and what we have been up to. So I'll start it off this week.
What have you been up to?
And kind of comfortably lead you into it. So as far as watching, we're going to skip that for now, because that is our main topic of choice. But as far as what I've been playing Horizon Forbidden West. That game just came out on February 18th. Published by Sony Interactive Entertainment and developed by Guerrilla Games, exclusive to the PlayStation format. This is the follow-up to 2017's Horizon Zero Dawn. Now, at first, I was like, okay, this game's all right. It's got an extremely slow beginning, and in the very beginning, it didn't seem like it was offering much more than the new one. It didn't seem like it was not innovating. It wasn't adding anything that was like, oh, okay, cool, this is the next one. And even when Andrew was over here watching me play, I was still pretty early on in the game, because Andrew was like, well, where are you at? And when you look at the map, when I finally showed him, the map's huge. There's a lot of places you can go. It's supposed to travel through like Utah, California, and Nevada. And I was barely through any of it. But the more I've explored into this, once you actually get into the open world and get more involved in the story, it's beautiful to look at. I mean, even on my probably the worst TV that I have, it's still a gorgeous looking game, and the story gets way more sci-fi. So I'm not going to get in any spoilers, and if you haven't played 2017, I'm sorry, because this is the story of number 2. You're essentially still trying to rebuild Gaia, which is this program that's supposed to like re-terraform Earth, because it's now like this, apocalyptic world. And I'm at the point, if you've been playing the game, where I've gone after 2 of the 3 programs that you're supposed to bring back for Gaia to kind of to repurpose yourself with, and I've met beta. So if you guys know those terms and words, that's where I'm at. And I gotta say, since the beginning, I'm way more impressed with this game. Like, this is a great game for Sony to put out. Not only is like the flora and the fauna amazingly beautiful to look at, you can tell that this is what they've been putting their 5 years into this game. Like, it's it's time and effort is well spent, but the combat is awesome, and it kind of picks up right where it left off. You still got to keep adding these traps if that's the way you want to play. You still got to focus on your melee and combat if that's more of the style, or the range if that's the way you want to play it. But when you're trying to gather these items to collect and build stuff and craft things, like, it's so satisfying, like shooting a bow and hitting like one of these robotic dinosaurs, and like seeing a chunk of it go flying off. So the game's awesome, and it is a really, really big game. If you're interested in anything that reminds you of like Far Cry or anything like or anything like that, this game's got a lot to do. And I've been doing side quests, and I'm mainly sticking to the story though. But even the side quests all feel like they fit into the game, and by that I mean it's not just the sake of, hey, go grab this, bring this to him, and put this over here, and bring it like a fetch quest as of normal. Like, it actually has to do with the town you're in. If the town's struggling with something, it wants something done that will benefit them. And when you come back, you can see in all the, the NPCs' reactions and things like that. And not only, they're getting a lot of praise too, is the facial expressions are like extremely, like, they emote. Like, they actually smile and talk back to you. They're not just like a blank stare, like Fallout or something like that. So,
hey, how are you?
Yeah, hey, what's going on? So it's got a lot of life in this game, and I would say definitely check it out. Unfortunately, this game is being overshadowed by something I know that Andrew wants to talk about, because I did want to point out that Elden Ring is out as well if you're looking for a big open world game. But when 2017's came out, Horizon, even though, I mean, it's exclusive to PlayStation, so if you had it, that's what you were playing, but it was kind of shadowed by Breath of the Wild, because it came out the same year, but another big open world game. So timing wise, Horizon seems to kind of go against, because it's a great game in its own, but it seems to be going up against guys that just know how to handle it a little bit better, which takes nothing away from Horizon. As of right now, tons of good games coming out this year. I've got a feeling this will be, if it's not on my top 5, it'll be on the chopping block. You know what I mean? It'll be one of the games where I'm deciding where to put it. So I'm actually loving it. If you guys are interested in, or you have a PS5, I do got to say, if you've got a PS5 and you want to buy it, you don't have to buy the $70 version, because I wasn't sure how to do it, because on the digital storefront, you can't buy the PlayStation version.
You have to do it from like the app.
Yeah, so you can do it from the app. So if you have the PlayStation app, buy it there for $60, and then do the free upgrade. Buy the PS4 version at $60. Get the free upgrade to the PS5.
Makes no sense.
Do it. Yeah, the only difference is when you bought it, the PS4 on the app, it wouldn't start downloading to be ready. So if you were trying to get it day one, the only buying the $70 version is what had it loaded to your PS5 ready to go. So I don't know. I loved it.
I've seen people talk nothing but praise about it, but it seems like there's a couple the same way, like, you find gripes in like every game. Like, when I played Assassin's Creed, when they're like, Malaka, Mistios, Malaka, I heard she says like stash like 40,000 times in this thing. I think they even just released like a patch today, so that way she says the word stash a little less.
It's a constant thing where she's just going. And another thing, I love Ashley Birch is, I believe, the voice actress for it. I love her, but like Aloy's voice is so, like, she's always tired and exhausted, and I've got to go over there now. So she's constantly going, I don't know room for this. I've got to put it in my stash. So it's like, I don't need to know any of this. So I think you were talking about the thing. I'm like, okay, good. If you can get rid of that, let's get rid of the memes of the Red Dead Redemption 2s and the boys. Like, if you can get rid of that, then good.
I've seen that, and then I've seen some other thing where someone's like standing inside and there's no wind or anything, but her hair's just still like noodling about and stuff. I'm like, God, that would be so distracting.
Her hair is because this is a signature look for her. You can't get rid of it. She's the fire-haired child of blah, blah, blah. Her hair is monstrous. It's literally, it's cutting through shoulders. She'll jump and whip around when she's on a ladder, and it's going through her head. I don't know how that's the one thing we haven't gotten right yet, is hair, but it's the worst thing. It's consistently just moving through her. So let me not forget about, let's do Elden Ring first, and then we'll talk the event.
So as far as what I've been doing, then I've been traveling a lot. I actually went to Phoenix, like I told you guys before. Went and saw Under Oath with Spirit Box, Bad Omens, and Straight from the Path. Had a great time.
You hated it.
Turned around, came back. As far as anything I've been playing, I actually finished Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy because I had sat on that for like ever. But then I also sat down and beat Record of Lodoss War, Deedlit in Wonder Labyrinth. Now, it's a stupid name, and I thought it was going to be lame. The only thing that really pulled me into this game is that the art style and the gameplay are literally like Castlevania Symphony of the Night. and if you just swap out vampires for elves and stuff like that, it flows with it. It was actually really, really good. I absolutely love this game just because it has that Symphony of the Night gameplay style. Like, it felt really good. Traversing was really fun. It's a really good Metroidvania that you can beat in like 5 hours. And that's something I like even more too, is that I kind of wish I knew the backstory to, because this is part of like a bigger series, so I wish I knew a little bit more. Maybe I'd care like a little bit more. But if you were to build something, I don't know why people don't make more little bite-sized things like this that like respect someone's time, and I could just have fun and go with it. But the other big thing, I streamed it for a little bit the other day, was Elden Ring. Unfortunately, the other day I had to get off because I had an emergency with someone else. And then I've been trying to move it over to the YouTube to stream, but every day it just seems like there was a different problem. I've actually got everything up and going now. The only thing I was missing was an audio cable that I actually just got last night, so that way I can stream it straight to there. So you should see me on this weekend, and I'm absolutely loving it. The first day, I'm actually glad I didn't stream it, because when I jumped on, and you can see it in the stream too, I already had 2 preset save people. I spent an hour making how my character looks, just because I normally, when I play these kinds of games, I go with a girl. But when you choose a girl in this, for some reason in this game, normally when you choose a girl, she's fine. You just change a couple features and you're good to go. In this one, every chick starts off with a jaw that would rival that of fucking Mickey Kaline from Hey Arnold. Like Hey Arnold. And so I had to look up a YouTube video, and I made 2 out of people that spent however long trying to figure this out to make it actually look like a normal, attractive woman. And I'm not saying by any means that it's got to be like a supermodel or something, but I don't want to look like the Crimson Chin while I'm fucking playing.
Or Clef, the boy Chin Wonder.
And so I made 2 different ones, and so then I actually started playing, and I'm absolutely loving it. I'm still kind of fumbling around with the controllers a little bit, just because I'm so used to like Dark Souls and how Dark Souls plays. But this game so far, it's absolutely great. It's so fucking big, and I think that's one of the crazier things, is it's one of those things where if you look and you see something in the distance, odds are you can go there and there's going to be something there. Whether it just be I'm standing out looking over into like a vast area, there's like an island. It's crazy to traverse everywhere on here, and it's really fun. I'm having a blast so far.
Yeah, and because I haven't played it yet, but it's one of those things where every outlet is just giving this thing like a 10 or pretty close to it, which is not surprising, because when we went to the Game Awards, Sekiro won game of the year. So it's not to say that type of game can win, but it almost seems like they've outdone themselves. Like, if Elden Ring is this fucking doing this well in the Dark Souls, kind of camp of gameplay, like, now what do they do? Because it seems like they've took everything they've learned and made, I'd argue that someone could argue, it's a near perfect game.
I'm like, and again, I know there's some people out there that have issues. I'm playing on a Series X. I haven't had any problems. But yeah, I'm only like 3 or 4 hours in, and I can't wait to play more. Like this, it's already got its hooks in me faster than Sekiro did. Sekiro actually did not click with me at first, and I didn't like it, but then something just like hit with it. For this, I cannot wait to play more. Normally, when I'm playing a game, especially too because we're doing a channel, I'm just kind of trying to beat it and do whatever. I can already tell I'm 100% this, but before I'm even doing the main story, I'm going off into all these other places and I'm getting my ass kicked, but I'm trying to run past everybody to see if maybe I can get stronger stuff or get whatever over there. I'm just full-blown exploring, and I normally don't do that in a game.
Yeah, my buddy Luis is playing it, man. He was showing me his snaps, and he's like, I got like 50 hours in, I'm level 70-something. He's like, and I still am grinding. Like, there's a lot to it. So, good. I mean, it's cool that right now there's 2 big open world games that you could play. Well, if you have Sony, PlayStation 4 or 5. But I like that, like, this type of thing, like, because we always complain that, like, not every game has to be turned into an open world something. But, like, when you can do it right now there's 2 good games out that most people are giving 8s and higher to. And that's a lot of time to sink your teeth into. So, and early in the year, because we still have Falls is going to be when a lot of games come out. I mean, Dying Light, yeah, but it's not getting as good as reviews as these 2 games.
I think with how this thing's been handling and how it's been out there, the only things that could really maybe beat it this year would probably be like God of War, or if they release like Breath of the Wild 2 this year. I feel like those are, with the scope and scale of this thing and how well done it really is, those would be the only 2 things. I don't think that...
Well, there's an open world game we're going to be talking about a little bit later. That might have a shot at it. So, let us know, guys, down below what you've been playing, what you've been up to. But before we move into our main topic, we got to say what we were up to last week, and that was the Level Up Expo 2022 that was in the Las Vegas Convention Center. We've been to it before. I mean, I've got I've got badges back here that proves that. But this thing was a lot bigger than I remember. This thing was like it literally took up all the floor space. Like you walk down the steps, you're instantly in this thing. You go all the way to the back. They're playing games back there.
Right.
Even the sides to move through was a tough squeeze, but this thing had everything. It had a whole arcade setup that you could go do. We saw people playing Mario Kart tournaments. We saw people playing, all kinds of like fighting games. There was a full-on wrestling ring with a Macho Man impersonator, and it was a lot. I mean, there were guys out there stretching. Like it was a serious event. It wasn't just like they were promoting a game. It was like a full-on event that they were doing. There was axe throwing that I know we had a couple of people go check it out. There was a ton of merch, that we got a chance to go check out and see. Andrew got a lot more than I did, but I mean, I enjoyed what I saw there, and there was a lot of, in terms of like the prints and the shirts and people selling their things, but when you could find a good table that had some comic books in it and some games, I saw a lot of good stuff. And I was telling Andrew, the next time we go, because I didn't spend a lot of money, my main thing there was to go look around and be around, that kind of crowd. I want to say we should pick something out next time we go, or to any of these things, and go look for it and see if we can find it and see if we could get it at a price that's worth getting. Because I'd rather go there with a goal and try to find something, hidden in the stash. But because there was a couple good games that I saw and I was going to grab, and I know you saw a couple comics you were going to get. But overall, man, I had a blast. We went with a whole big group, and it was a lot of fun. What did you think of the event?
I actually really liked it a lot. I felt like there was a lot of diversity there. I think my biggest negative, though, is there was like kind of a lot of repeat stuff for some things. Yeah. Like I wanted to see like more game stuff there than just prints and like some shirts. There could have been I don't know, anything but that.
It was better than the torpedo one when we went and saw 2 games. Like I did find some booths that just had some stacks and stacks of stuff.
I think they just need to like cut down on some of their things though, because there's literally like 40 like anime titty booths, and I mean I'm all for big titties, but
anime titty booth.
But at some point I'm like, dude, I would love to see something else. Like this could have been like I don't know, some kind of like merch thing. I wouldn't even care if it was like a fucking paint your face and we'll paint you as your favorite video game player, a Sub-Zero mask, Scorpion, something like that would have been a lot cooler than seeing some of that stuff.
Well, and it's called Level Up. Like it should be game based. A lot of it was like animes and prints and stuff like that. But and the one thing we had our heart set on, or not really, but what we were looking forward to was the Level Up after party, which was supposed to be the drinking part of the club. When we went there, dude, I have never seen a line that big for something that didn't seem to be that cool, but we never even went to it, right? We were just like, we grabbed beers by the side, got good and drunk, and it was just like, we never even went. We did get dressed up, though. I mean, our costumes weren't the best there because there was a ton of people, but I went as my Superboy and you did your Punisher.
Yeah, I think that would be the other thing they need to do is when they do the club thing, if they're going to do an after party or something like that, set like a limit to how many tickets of those are bought, because there's again, you prepaid for the stuff, and the line was like out the fucking door, and even hours later it was still out the door.
Yeah,
and it was just crazy, and we didn't even get there that late. We got there like 30 minutes beforehand, and there was people that were waiting in line like 2 hours before, and I'm just like, all right, well, I'm not going to sit here just so that way I can go get an overpriced drink and be packed wall to wall to the people. So I had a good time going and drinking and doing other stuff, but if you're looking forward to that, I would say maybe don't.
Yeah, don't. We're definitely not doing it next time. But Level Up Expo was a lot of fun and super looking forward to it next year or the next one we go to. So if you guys were there, if you happen to be there, if you're from Vegas, jump down there and let us know.
What they should do is have like 3 of those going on in separate places to kind of disperse the crowd. That would maybe be cool, because then you can go and talk to people about their costumes.
Just
and shit
3
like that.
places that are being hosted or sponsored by Level Up, to where that crowd can go to this place A, B, or C. Because I don't think there was anything outside maybe a costume contest that you would have missed out on. It just would have been like, hey, here's a place to go, here's a place to go, here's a place to go, and you're in good company.
Right.
So, with that being said, guys, let's move into our main story. And that is that the Uncharted movie is officially out. That came out on February 18th. Now, we're not going to do a spoiler review here. It's generally just kind of talking about it and speculation on the future movies. But we could possibly say something that you may deem a spoiler. So here's the flag here. If you're ready to skip forward, look at the tags down below. But we'll do our best to not spoil any big plot points or anything like that. But I just want to point out too, because I think we were talking about it the other day, this is the first official feature film that comes out of Sony's PlayStation production. So the first game that they're actually translating into a movie, this is the one that's heading it off. And my overall opinion is that this movie is super fun to watch. I had a lot of fun in the theater with it, but it's not really a great movie if you're trying to pick it apart as like how a movie should actually work, because there's a lot of things wrong with this. There's a lot of things that make no sense. There's a lot of things that are completely unnecessary. There's a lot of things that just kind of get skipped over way too fast. There's a lot of things that literally could not have happened in this movie. So I can see why this thing got a lot of bad reviews. It got beat up. The critics at the end of the day, I think within the last 3 days, have given it a 40%. But audience members
Resident Evil did better.
But audience members are up to as high as 90%. So even though it's not a great movie, I still liked it. And I was laughing my ass off. There was parts where I was uncontrollable laughing. And if a movie can make me not only like it, but also laugh at it, then you've got me looking at it as a good movie. So with that being said, Andrew, how did you initially take it? And then we'll kind of dive more into it. But what was your initial reaction with walking out of this theater and seeing Uncharted?
I agree 100%. Like, I don't go into movies to like be a critic and like pick things apart or anything like that. I'll kind of think about some of that stuff afterwards. But I think it is a good movie. Like, if you're just looking for like a good popcorn flick, just something to throw on and you're just having a good time, I had fun with it front to back. Like, there wasn't a moment where I'm just sitting there in my chair like, dude, this part sucks, this part's boring, I don't care about this, whatever. Like, I had a great time between it, and I was even talking with my girlfriend afterwards. Like, we both really enjoyed it, and that would definitely be a movie that once it's on, like, Netflix, Hulu, whatever the hell it's going to be on, that you just put it on all the time in the background where you're doing whatever, before you go to bed, you're taking a nap, whatever. It's now one of those movies that I'm going to add into my list of like, okay, cool, I'll put that on in the background while I'm cleaning, sleeping, whatever, you know. It's a comfort movie. I really enjoyed it.
So I want to read this real quick from Screen Rant, and they kind of address the issue that it was coming out with bad reviews. And the link will be in the description. If you guys want to tackle the whole article, I suggest doing so. It's pretty good. And it says, Sony's live-action Uncharted movie has become a massive box office success despite receiving terrible reviews. The video game movie starring Tom Holland as Nathan Drake has long been surrounded by skepticism based on the decision not to adapt one of Naughty Dog's acclaimed games and instead tell an original prequel story. This left Uncharted in the position to potentially be another failed video game movie franchise attempt, especially after critical reviews arrived. However, Holland's movie has still become a box office success despite the awful reviews. So, as bad as they thought this movie could have been or would have been, because it had a lot going against it, one of the biggest things I thought is just, not that it was miscast, well, I guess I would say it's just miscast. I never bought, looking at the trailer, that Mark Wahlberg or Tom Holland should have been playing Sully or Drake. But at the end, once you start watching it, you're like, oh, this is a funny, their version of Drake. Because he gets
and it fits.
Yeah, because he gets into the build of like, okay, this isn't bulky Nathan Drake. This is a parkour lean version of it. So I liked it. I think word of mouth is going to help it. Like I said, is it the best movie in the world?
I told people about it.
Yeah, not even close. But it's extremely fun. If somebody wanted to go tomorrow and go watch it again, like Geno, if you wanted to go see it, I'd go watch it again.
Yeah, I told people at work today, I was like, yeah, I went and saw that last night. I had a really good time watching it. Like, if you just want to go watch something fun, definitely check it out. But I highly agree. At first, I thought it was miscast, and I thought that was going to be the worst part. But now seeing the different angles they take with these people, I think it fits, and I actually really enjoyed it.
Yeah, so one of the things that people have been asking is, like, did this movie end up making money? And is there going to be a sequel? So this movie opened up to number 1 at the box office, which wasn't hard. I think it had to take out something on the Nile, whatever that movie was, and it actually opened up with 50 million its opening weekend, which sounds impressive, and there's a lot of movies that would kill for that, but its budget was 120, and you generally make most of your money, 80% of your money in the first opening weekend, and it only goes down from there. So when analysts are looking at this going 50 million, like, you're not catching up to 120 fast or anytime soon. So I think at the end of the day, it actually came out to around 83 million domestic. But let me read this real quick. And this article continued to go on and say this. Uncharted has still become an incredibly successful box office story for Sony. After completing its second weekend of release, Tom Holland's video game movie has earned more than 225 million worldwide. Uncharted's box office has overperformed across the board, as it has made roughly 83 million domestically in less than 2 weeks and an estimated 143 million internationally. The movie's top international territory is the United Kingdom, which is a significant market and where the star Tom Holland comes from. The film should also receive a major bump in its box office tally once Uncharted releases in China on March 14th. It's unclear exactly how much money it will make at the end of its run, but it should have no problem making more than $300 million at this pace. So, I was worried about this because originally because this movie came out a little bit ago and I just recently saw it, when I was reading a couple things a while ago going 50 million, like that's going to be tough. And if it fails, why would they make another one? Regardless of how much we like it. The fact that this thing's projected to possibly come out at $300 million, overdoing its budget and making a profit at the end of the day, I have high hopes for now a sequel or at least another, because I think the bet was a franchise. I don't know if you're getting 4 out of this, but at least one more.
Yeah, I definitely want a sequel, and there's few movies that, like, when it comes out, I'm like, oh man, they need to make another one. I feel like this is another one, and slightly off topic-ish a little bit, but when we were talking about those trailers,
like a goddamn hand grenade.
When we were talking about those trailers earlier, Sonic 2 was again
that was
the other sequel.
Yes,
that was the other one.
Oh, okay. So still staying off topic, and I guess kind of tying in with this a bit is when I went to go see it, me, Dante, and my dad went to go watch it at Riverside. I've never been to a movie at the Riverside that was sold out. Uncharted was sold out.
Really?
And this is the middle of the day where
there was like 5 people.
Where the senior special, price was running wild. So in my mind, I'm going, this isn't only appealing to people that play games. It's not only appealing to people that are around our age group. That whole thing had to have been packed full of people that are 50 and up watching this movie. So
that's how it was. Mine was 50 and up people.
So we had to leave there, go to the Avi, which when I went to the Avi had 7 people in it. So I was like, that's curious. I've never been to a movie theater that's been sold out like that at Riverside, and it was that particular title. So I'm glad this thing is now getting legs. It's getting word of mouth that because my grandma's not going to watch this movie and go, plot hole. This doesn't make sense. She's going to look at it and go, oh,
where's Sully's mustache?
Where's Sully's stash? It's like, no, this is a fun movie to watch. I didn't mean to cut you off, but
no, you were good. Right? Yeah, that's where it was. Yeah, I really liked it. And then
Sonic the Hedgehog, yes.
Yeah, Sonic was the other thing. The other thing we actually saw during this too is that actually right at the start, Sony has a new one of those, like Marvel has one, Star Wars has one now, DC has one.
Sony
like they're like little, their little flip logo through whatever. And it had not. It was funny seeing like proper Nathan Drake in there.
It starts out with proper Drake. Yeah. The first symbol is him, and you're like, and he's huge, and you're like,
And then it had like God of War and everything like that. I'm like, okay, that was a pretty cool thing that they have their own thing. So maybe in a way, I almost felt like seeing that, I was like, all right, cool, because I feel like there's a lot of studios who were good, but they got even better once I saw they had this sort of like flip logo. So hopefully that means they're starting earlier with the good flip logo, and now it's gonna be nothing but good.
I hope so. So unless there's anything you want to add on, I want to jump into something.
No, I didn't have nothing else for it.
So what I wanted to do is, if you guys are interested in going to watch this movie, I kind of just wanted to do a pro and con list if it's something to kind of either prepare you for or dissuade you from it, and then add on if there's anything I missed.
Right.
So for the pros, I'm going to say that I ended up loving Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg as Sully and Drake. It worked. Not only was it their banter hilarious, because dude, I was dying. Mark Wahlberg was having me in stitches, but when you end up looking at it, that like Tom Holland, his version is a parkour lean version of Nathan Drake. I'm like, okay, then it just instantly put the other one out of my mind.
Right.
Because I was a big stickler, and everyone was, of Nathan Fillion playing him. Why is it Mark Wahlberg playing him? This is a decent version, even though it has nothing to do with the, it's not pulling, it's an original movie for it. I thought it did that well. The other thing I thought it did well was the action scenes. They're tight. They were fun. Me and you were talking about the other day. They actually, not made fun of, but used the idea that when he hits somebody that's fucking 2 times bigger than him, he falls over.
Yeah.
Or he gets his ass beat. This isn't a movie where he's just like ninjing everybody. Like when he hits somebody or bounces off something, like he takes the bumps and the bruises. And one of the last thing I have to say is,
I was gonna say, let's just say it would make more sense for this version of Nathan Drake to use a gun than the other ones.
Yes, for sure. And the last thing I want to touch on is this does have an Uncharted vibe. This isn't something that just used the name Uncharted and has Nathan Drake in it and has Sully. I watched it going, even though it's not one of the games, this is Uncharted to me, more or less. Whether you like the way they went with it or didn't like it, it was an Uncharted movie to me.
Right, that's how I described someone at work, because they hadn't heard it, and I was like, picture like a more action over the top Indiana Jones, a modern Indiana Jones.
Any other pros you want to add on before I get to my cons? Anything will stand out to you?
I really like the locale they went with, actually. That was something that was really cool. It seemed like there really was, whether that history is real or not, a lot of the history stuff that was implemented in this, I actually really liked it. And again, I felt like that added to the true to the spirit of Uncharted, like he was saying, and it's not just a name. And I felt like that was more important as the places they were going that really added to it.
And it had really nice set pieces, so I'll give that as well.
I did have one more thing I want to add now that I think about it. Antonio Banderas, absolutely great in this.
Fire. I loved him. I thought he outperformed everybody. Like, he easily...
I think so.
When they first meet, because it's in the trailer, so I don't know if that's a spoiler, but when they talk, and he's giving them kind of the background, I don't dabble. You know what I mean? I was just like, Antonio. So
loved him.
My cons are, and they're two, but they're big enough to dissuade anyone that wouldn't want to watch it, is I feel the story feels rushed, especially in the second act, and it's all over the place. It doesn't seem like, 1 minute they're here, 1 minute they're here, 1 minute they're doing this, and it's like, it just kind of felt like their sense of what the movie timing and pacing was just kind of everywhere. And did you get the same feeling at all?
I didn't get it as bad as I did with Rogue One, but you're right, it does the same thing, and I hated that at the start of Star Wars Rogue One, the jump from place to place to place to place. I'm like, dude, this is stupid, not that I can't keep up, but it's like, fuck, like, let me get into an area. They do that a lot here, but I felt like it wasn't like whiplash like I got with Rogue One. Like, I felt it was fine, but it does do that, I will agree.
And the other big thing, I think this is the biggest, that if you are a big movie fan, right? If you're a fan of this genre of just watching movies, is it asks way too much for your suspension of disbelief. There's too much going on in this where, and again, I hope don't take this as a spoiler, where the quest itself doesn't make sense. What some of these people's agendas don't make sense. People that are in certain places do not make sense. If you're going to be one of these guys that want to poke holes instantly, and sometimes I am, but with this movie I wasn't, you're going to be, okay, this is just bad writing. I don't know, but is that a spoiler, you think? Or did you not feel the same way? Or do you have another slight example of them doing the same thing?
No, there's like a second, like, lesser tier villain that's in this movie, and I felt like that was my least favorite part, but again, it goes to, like, her motives and stuff like that. I'm like, it doesn't really make sense with what you're doing, and then something happens, I'm like, okay, well, why wouldn't someone else just do the same thing as what you're doing, and now, why are you the leader of these... It's like a whole thing, but... Again, if you can get past it, and again, suspend your disbelief, I had a great time watching it again. I would definitely watch it again.
So if you're asking us, should I go watch this movie, Craig and Andrew? I would say, yeah. I'd say go have fun. I'd say go have fun with this movie. But if you're someone that's like, a connoisseur of movies, I would say probably not, because you're gonna be furious with everything that happens and going, okay, well, who wrote? Because I hope PlayStation Productions, because this is kind of I don't want to say a bad sign, but it's like, if this is what's going to get past your gates of saying this is the story we want to tell, and this is the kind of writing that's getting through it, and you're going, and you're like, yeah, let's make it, then I don't want to see a bad God of War. I don't want to see a bad Horizon. You know what I mean? I don't want to walk out of God of War and go, as much as it was fun, this didn't make sense. I need these movies to make sense. It's not hard. Having one big flaw in a movie like an Indiana Jones is fine. But this thing is riddled with things that are just like use this as an example, because I'm sure people are going to review it, is you need to tighten that stuff up. It's not hard to just make it make sense. Don't put this person here if this person shouldn't have been there. Don't show me an entrance to something that no one can get through, and then now these people are there. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, this has to be tightened up. But at the end of the day, it was fun and it was funny. So I would say, if you're a fan of Uncharted in any way, go watch it.
Go see it.
Go see it. So, anything else you want to add on that before we move on?
No, ready for the next one.
All right, my friend. So, the next story, guys, we want to talk about is the Pokemon Presents, which just happened on February 27th, which I believe they deemed as Pokemon Day, and this actually celebrates their 26th birthday. So, if you're a big Pokemon fan, this had a lot of juicy stuff in it for you. We just really want to talk about one big thing, but I will lightly go over everything that was kind of showing. So if you're a Pokemon Go fan, they're adding the Alolan region, which is Sun and Moon. So by the time you're hearing this, because it launches March 1st, it should be fully developed, but the first thing they started with was Executor, the big one that you could go catch. The second thing they did was in Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Pearl, there's this Oak's letter that's received as a mystery gift, which is now going to allow you to start catching Shaman, and you can start putting him in your party if you want to go catch Shaman, which I know is a big fan favorite, especially if you play the cards. It goes on to talk about Pokemon Masters X, Cafe Remix, and Pokemon Unite, which had several cool updates and patches and add-ons that they were going to do to it. So again, this link will be in the description if you guys want to check it out. So one of the big ones was the announcement, the Arceus Daybreak update arrived. So I will read this one for you guys. Pokemon Legends Arceus Daybreak update will arrive later today and will have trainers investigating mysterious mass outbreaks of Pokemon that are popping up all over the Hisu region. They will be able to battle powerful opponents like legendary Pokemon and Wardens, adding yet more options to the Pokemon battle experience. Players will also be able to receive 30 Ultra Balls, Gigaton Balls, and Jet Balls by entering the password Arceus Adventure in the Mystery Gifts menu before March 31st, 2022. Furthermore, there will be an online animated series set in the Pokemon Legends Arceus region that will launch later in 2022 with an original story. So before we get any further, cool. I thought that was actually pretty cool because that world, as fun as it was to explore, probably would be better to watch and see how some of these origin stories are explained. As long as there's not 30 Nurse Joys in these villages, as long as there's not 30, what's the cop name?
Officer Jenny.
Jenny. You know what I mean? As long as they kind of take it more serious, because I think it's time Pokemon does take itself more serious. It's not just for 10-year-olds to watch it. This, Arceus had a pretty heavy and dark storyline, and if they take it a little more serious, or maybe this is the mature version of compared to the Pokemon cartoon, I think it'd be very interesting. I'd watch it.
I think that they'll do fine with it because they have done that in the past. Like, remember I showed you some of those other Pokemon anime shorts that they had, and it was like the 15-minute ones where like they have all the Arcanine for the cops, and they're like breaking in. I think it was like to stop like Giovanni or something. They have like a whole bunch of them, but then they had a bigger one that was all about Red's journey, and he was called Red.
Yeah,
and that one
was 6 foot.
Yeah, and that one, like, literally when the Squirtle, like, bites his face, is like a hard-ass, like, chomp just for, like, his first fight or whatever. But that one was a lot, I guess grittier would be the term for it, but maybe a more mature tone than, I don't want to say mature, like, whatever, but it definitely wasn't like the old cartoon.
Except for a teen and up audience. It's not just for a 10-year-old's enjoyment.
Yeah, so, and it was actually really, really good. So if you haven't watched it, definitely check it out. I think that one was called Pokemon Origins, and all that stuff you can find on YouTube. They've had all kinds of stuff that I felt like they announced once, and then just let it fly under the radar. And I wish they would promote that stuff a little bit more, because it actually is really, really good.
Was it official? Is that why it wasn't?
No, it is an official thing. Okay. I even just watched one the other day, because I haven't seen any sort of post about it, but they had just launched one like not too long ago, and it showed up on my YouTube feed, and I was watching it. I can't remember what it was about, though. But I was like, oh, that one was actually, like, really cool. It's cool to see that they're still going with all these, like, little 15-minute shorts or, whatever they're doing.
Excellent. So the final thing and the bigger thing we want to talk about is that Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet were announced. So this comes to us, again, from IGN articles, and it says, Generation 9 will officially begin later this year when Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet arrive on Nintendo Switch in 2022. This open-world game, where various towns with no borders blend seamlessly into the wilderness, will be an evolutionary step for the Pokemon franchise. We are also introduced to the new starter Pokemon, and they are wonderful. When trainers begin their journey, they will choose between the Grass Cat Sprigatito, the Fire Croc Fuecoco, and the Water Duckling Quaxley. So, first of all, before we get into like the trailer, do you like the name? Do you like Scarlet and Violet? Because for a while, it seemed like they were running out. When we had White and Black, X and Y, does this kind of give you a revamp? And I mean, obviously their names will always kind of mirror each other, but do you like Scarlet and Violet?
I like the name. If I get one, it's definitely going to be Scarlet. I think I'd go Scarlet over Violet.
I'm always.
But it depends on what you get. Because whatever you get, I guess I'll probably get the opposite.
So the trailer starts off with, it's kind of this mixed live action intro and outro. And once it starts getting into the world, you do see a lot, and it does seem a lot more open worldy. It kind of seems like they're doing a hybrid between the traditional Pokemon games and Arceus,
like what we wanted,
which is what we always wanted. So at the end, they show all the three, and to each their own. I thought they looked pretty cool, but I mean, because we were originally talking about Arceus is the way to go. I don't think anybody thought that in a couple weeks we were going to see the trailer for a game that's coming out at the end of the year, because this is going back to back off of Diamond, Pearl, now Arceus, and now we're getting another one. This seems a little out of character for them.
Yeah, especially since we just got done criticizing it for not having more, and they're like, oh no, we have that. That's just on the back end.
Maybe Arceus was teeing him up, and we're like, okay guys, let's get ready for open world adventure, and here's what it actually is going to be.
Yeah, I'm actually really excited for it, and I haven't been excited for a Pokemon game in a long time, except for Arceus, and then, like I said, after I played it. So seeing that this is kind of piggybacking off of that and that gameplay style, I'm fully, like, back in.
Yeah, and it looked big, it looked colorful, it looked like they were doing, like, you could see the castle. I was going to ask you.
Who's your starter?
Well, usually I always go fire, so I guess
I do too.
What is it? Fuecoco?
Fuecoco.
But I gotta say, I've always been a fan of like Psyducks and Farfetches. Maybe the Quaxley will get me because I love the name Quaxley.
Yeah.
How have I never named my duck Pokemon that? But I don't know. Maybe I'll dabble this time and kind of see. But I would say, I want
to do something different.
Fire. Yeah, you want to go something different?
Yeah, I think
I always go fire. So
the last time I ever went different was Gold and Silver. I chose Quilava the first time, but I remember after that specifically going for that Totodile.
Oh,
but I have seen the big fuss that everyone's talking about is that Sprigatito. What they want is when this cat evolves, obviously like it will, for it to stay on all four legs.
Oh, instead of
because every fucking cat evolution, anything that's ever on four legs, always ends up bipedal, and so they're
quadruped. Bipedal would be coming up on 2. Quadruped would be staying on all 4.
Yeah, there's just memes everywhere of like people like Star Wars, like you're our hope for the galaxy, and it's the Sprigatito, and people are drawing what they think it'll look like staying quadrupedal on all 4.
Yeah, just stay like Dialga. Just stay like you can still make a cool looking beast and just keep them grounded, I guess. But was that everything you want to add on that? Because I did want to point out something real quick.
Go for it.
See if you caught it. One of the things they were bringing up is because obviously we don't know the name of the region, but let me see if this article will even pop up. So running into some technical difficulties, but so it goes on to say, and this comes from Digital Trends. It says, based on the landscapes and architecture, many people speculate that this region, whatever it is going to be called, will be based on Spain and Portugal. The focal point is what looks to be a recreation of Barcelona's La Sagrada Familia, if I'm saying that right. Every mainline Pokemon games region is based at least somewhat on a real-life location, so this lines up as an unexplored part of the world for the series to tackle. Story-wise, nothing has been revealed just yet. Typically, Pokemon games have mostly formulaic plots involving some group of nefarious Pokemon trainers who are up to no good that you must thwart while defeating all the gym leaders. This game may spice things up again, but we'll have to wait for now to see. So I do like if that's the area they kind of want to explore. I hope they don't stay traditional gym badge, because we were talking about the last time. You can do more than gym badges. I mean, it's going to be hard to do it in their contemporary setting where gym badges are kind of like, the status holder of how you move forward. But I don't want to battle another team something and battle the same 8 gym badges. I hope it's something different, especially because it's an open world exploration. But I'm not sure what else you could do.
I felt like it was going something Spanish because of Tito, but that's how, like, Fuego is fire in Spanish. That's how I know it's Fuecoco. But I wouldn't mind seeing the 8 badges. I just don't want there to be...
Maybe on top of something else.
Yeah, on top of something. Or maybe even do like the way like Gold and Silver did or something like that. Just like add a little bit more, change it up somehow. But even if it was just 8, I feel like it would be fine for me, especially because I haven't played in so long. So give me the 8 badges with the Arceus gameplay, and that's good. Is Diamond and Pearl, do you get 8 badges? I thought that one you just battle like the stupid Team Galaxy or whoever it is.
No, you still get your badges, and then you still have to do an Elite Four, and then you do the battle, then you do the champion, and then that's where I stopped. I think you can still keep going and go back to the old islands and get more badges. So
yeah, I didn't know that, or maybe it's the one before that. I thought there was one where like the big thing is just like, oh, the teams are the bigger deal, and it's not really about like getting the badges and stuff.
No, yeah, you still need the badges to move forward. There's some places, because like gym leaders will be missing, and you've got to go find them to bring them back there and still collect your badge. But overall, I'm excited. Not only am I excited that it's coming so fast, but it's like I have to get it now. I'm in that Pokemon craze. Not only was Diamond to gear me up, but Arceus was like, oh, cool, this is what Pokemon could be. And the fact that they're going, oh, well, here's what it could be, and here it is. And it says the end of 22. I'd imagine somewhere between like November or maybe like Christmas time, December. I hope it doesn't get pushed. And I don't think we've ever really seen too many Nintendo games get pushed. I mean, they might drag Zelda on for 4 years, but they've never said like, here's a date, and we just keep going bump, bump, bump. So I'm confident that they'll stick the landing.
I can't not get the game because I just had criticism about the other one, and now for them to be like, well, here's it. We fixed all the stuff you're talking shit about. That I'm just, oh, well, no, I'm not ready for that yet.
Yeah, so that's too much. So, guys, leave down in the comments below how you feel about Pokemon Presents, especially Scarlet and Violet. Was there anything else you want to add on the Pokemon?
No.
So, we are going long, but it's been our first episode in 2 weeks. So, let's move into riffing it up. And, Andrew, why don't you tee off?
Sure, I'll go first. We'll keep it nice and short. And that is that Smash Brothers, in any sort of capacity, will not be at Evo 2022 this year. So for any of you that do not know, Evo, of course, is the big fighting game tournament championships that they do every year. Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, all kinds of games. That usually puts a big eye on the fighting community. There's no comment as to why the game is not going to be there. I was just throwing together something, so don't take these as a fact. These are just maybe kind of what I'm thinking. Either A, possibly because Sony acquired Evo 2022. I was thinking that, but I don't know if they would be that petty just to pull out for that, because it really doesn't benefit Sony as much as it puts eyes on Smash Brothers that it's at this fighting tournament. But who knows? I just had to throw that out there. I think maybe the bigger thing is just because of over the past few months and last year, there's a lot of sexual harassment scandals coming out in both the Smash Brothers community and the Evo community, that maybe they're just trying to take a break, that they don't want to be associated with, because that looked harsh in the headline. Lead Smash player that mains Mario is being accused of rape and stuff like that. So that looks bad for them, even though it has nothing to do with the game or how they present themselves as a company. But, there's lots of people out there, you have those Karen moms or whatever, like, only rapists play Smash Brothers now and whatever like that. So maybe it is time for them to, in their mind, take a step back, reevaluate, and then figure out how they're going to come back in. And maybe in their own way, I don't want to say monitor, but be able to bolster that community and make it feel safer and kind of, make everyone feel like, okay, this is all that shit happened. Even though we had nothing to do with it, we're sorry about it, and here's how we're going to make it better.
Yeah, I was kind of intrigued by this too, because I'm not the biggest fighting fan, but I thought this would have been a time for, because Brawl, right, that's what Smash Brothers we're on right now, Brawl, right?
Ultimate
is I don't know why Brawl's like my head in my head. All I can see is that cover. But
I think they usually play Brawl there, Stu. I think all three of them are there.
That's still relevant, right?
Yeah.
But this one is like every time there's a Nintendo Direct, they've been adding on to this thing for so long that I don't know how many other big tournaments or events you can do them at. But I thought this would have been a good time to finally showcase, hey, it's done. Here's everything, and let's see who uses what. But I mean, I could see them. I mean, it sucks because haven't they been with them since the beginning? Hasn't Nintendo always
for a while? Yeah,
had a representation with them. So yeah, it's unfortunate that they're gonna back out. But if that's their reasons, you know what I mean? Because if we find out that it's just something petty or dumb, it's gonna be like, okay, well, why? Or maybe they're gonna make their own. I mean, I don't know why Nintendo hasn't made up an event that's just for Smash.
Yeah, I don't know. Who knows what's going on with them?
So, is that everything?
Yep.
So my riff, guys, is a small one as well. I'm not saying that that's small, but it'll be quicker. Is that recently, and it's a shameless plug, is that I did some collaboration with Geeksploration, the podcast. I think I talked about it a few episodes back, but the episode is finally out. The link will be in the description. And what we ended up talking about, and the two hosts are John and Ben, is we ended up doing a whole episode on Matrix 4. I ended up finally listening to it. It's like maybe an hour and 15 minutes or something along that, but it was good, man. It was a lot of fun, and it was fun to do it with those guys. So if you guys are interested in hearing me talk to some other people about something that's not just video games, that is out. So I just want to plug them real quick and where you guys can find them. So on Facebook, it's Geeksploration the podcast. On Instagram, it's Geeksploration podcast. On Twitter, it's Geeksplore Pod, and they have their site geeksplorationpodcast.com, and they do a lot of funny stuff. If you guys are interested in somebody else that's extremely knowledgeable about things, just to show you, like their last few episodes have been about Spider-Man, us doing the Matrix, what Star Wars is in their current condition, Michael Jackson. I mean, they talk about everything, cryptocurrency, and one of their big ones that I know they got a lot of hits for was them talking about Lego. So if you guys were looking for another podcast that may be similar to voices that sound like ours, I would go say check out Geeksploration the podcast, John and Ben. So big shout out to those guys.
Yeah.
And that's where we'll end the episode. So, guys, that is the end of episode 124. Join us next time on episode 125. So, until next time, my name is Craig Perales. This handsome fellow is Andrew Montemare. Cheers.
Weep me.
All right. So, continuation of 13 questions. Andrew style, and you put a little of your own flavor in this, yes?
Mine's a little... Some of them are a little bit different.
Okay. Hey, nothing wrong with different, okay?
So, before 7 Remake came out and really finally put the stamp on it, were you an Aerith or an Aeris guy?
Aerith.
I've always been Aerith, too. I know there's a lot of people that make that argument for Aeris. I don't even think Aeris sounds good.
Aries never... Well, as a kid, whenever I saw it, I always said Aries. I never said Ares, because in my head I think Greek mythology. I think like, oh, it's Ares, but it sounded like a guy's name. So in my head, I always like preferred Aerith because it's like unique and it sounds to me like a girl's name.
And I wonder if too. I think I don't know if in the book you would have the book. We'd have to look that up. Ooh. I know in the game,
my unopened guidebook.
In the game, that's why it's mistranslated to Aeris. I don't know if it is in the guides, and I wonder if maybe I read one of the books and it always said Aerith, 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 and that's how I knew her.
We could pop up check.
You prefer comics or books? Reading a good novel or just a slew of comic books. And not for like movies or whatever, but like personal enjoyment.
Books, just because it's what I still go to read. Like, I collect comics now. I don't read them as much as I did when I was a kid. I read when I was a kid, and I still read now. So I would take books, because you can just get a graphic novel as in a comic and read it as a book. So
right.
I'll take that format.
Spider-Man's Rogue Gallery or the X-Men's Rogue Gallery?
Spider-Man's, because Spider-Man's my favorite guy, and I like guys that go towards, like, he has to fight them all on his own, where a team fights Magneto, a team fights Apocalypse, the team fights Mr. Sinister. Spider-Man is, in my mind, is like the Batman. Like, he has to go deal with Vulture, and he has to go deal with the Sinister Six. So I'll take Spider-Man's Rogue Gallery, and they're just more colorful, I think.
Okay. Pokemon cards are Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and you can take that as any kind of way that you want. Whether that be how they look, collectible, playing them.
Oh, I think the answer is Pokemon cards. Just because there's still a couple, like when you gave me the golden plated Bulbasaur or the Charizard, like Blastoise and Venusaur, that was still cool to have. I don't know if I'm ever going out of my way for a Yu-Gi-Oh card again, unless it's like a Blue Eyes or something. So I enjoyed playing Pokemon more than I enjoyed playing Yu-Gi-Oh, and I remember enjoying collecting more than I did Yu-Gi-Oh cards. But I think graphically though, Yu-Gi-Oh cards look cooler.
I don't know how to play Pokemon, so I know how to play Yu-Gi-Oh.
It's easy. It's way easier than Yu-Gi-Oh.
And then this was followed up by a part 2. The Pokemon cartoon for when you were younger, or Digimon. Which was better?
Digimon had the cooler sound, the intro. I like Digimon.
I didn't watch it, but I hear a lot of people swear by it, and I'm like, there's no way it's cooler than Pokemon.
No, Pokemon was just, and especially as a kid, especially in 1996 or whatever, like, that was it. Digimon was the, like, copycat, so.
Greek mythos or Norse mythos?
Greek mythology. Zeus Knight, you can add Zeus Knight to 8 and then take Norse, but Norse is way cooler. Greek, or, with that being said, Roman is just way more interesting to me, way more cooler shit.
I think so, too. Yeah. Here's one of my ones that I was talking about that's different. Aliens, yes or no? Do you believe in them? Are you a believer? We've never talked about it, and I've never thought.
Yeah, because by the simplest definition, it could just be a microorganism that's alive on another planet. And if that's the bottom line definition of life that's not here, being an alien, yes, I do believe something exists out there. Is it the kind that kidnap you and shove shit up your ass? I don't know.
Red, yellow, blue, any of those 3 versus gold and silver, any of those 2, which is better?
Ooh. I'll take gold and silver.
I go gold and silver too.
I think my heart is happier with red, but gold to me was the much better game.
This one, Sega or Sega. Which is the better pronunciation?
In a game, I like Sega, but the commercials, I like Sega. So, but if I had to pick one or the other, I take the Sonic Sega.
That's what I prefer too.
But yeah,
Hardee's or the Dudleys?
I'm not Hardy. So when we were wrestling as kids, my move was always like we always had a ground move, a finisher, and a top move. Mine was always a Swanton Bomb. So I was always a Jeff Hardy copycat when it came to jumping off his shit. So I remember in the playground jumping off big. I don't know. I wouldn't do it today, but jumping off big ass monkey bars and doing the Swanton Bomb and jumping out. And then I think I switched one of my moves to the Twist of Fate. So I'll take the Hardy Boys.
Do you believe in
magic?
Cryptozoology, obviously, that's a study of, but do you believe there's a lot of those things out there? Like the Loch Ness, the Abominable, this was kind of a play on your question. Abominable Snowman,
Is the question, do I believe in the myth of it, or do I believe that any of them are real?
I would say a majority of them.
No, just because those were fresh when I was a kid, and I'm 30 something now, so it's like, and we've never proven any of it, so I'd have to say no. Are they fun to believe in and maybe write a new story about? Yeah, but I don't believe in them, no. So, if I was getting chased at nighttime, I wouldn't think it was Bigfoot chasing me. It'd be some guy with a knife.
Well, it could be the Mothman.
Oh.
Subs or dubs?
Subs. No. That's hard to say because I'd rather hear it in English, but if I had to pick, I will listen to it in English, but I have no problem with subtitles.
And you're a different age bracket than me, so that's why this one might hit you a little bit different. WCW or WWF?
Oh!
Just for me, it's hands down WWF because WCW was already on its way out.
As a younger kid, it was WCW. Like 4th grade, it would have been WCW because that's when I went to one, and that was when NWO was hot. But going into the Attitude Era, it was WWF. So, who did I like more? It was... fuck, that's a hard one because I don't... I'll say, as a kid, it was WCW.
13, maybe.
Nice.